Hi, I hope most of you have played with colors. There are three basic colors in nature. One is red, green, and third one is blue. In simple, we call it as RGB in short. Again, these colors possess some properties. One color cannot be obtained by combining other two colors. Suppose red color cannot be obtained by combining green and blue, and blue color cannot be obtained by combining red and green, and green color cannot be obtained by combining red and blue. So one color cannot be obtained from the combination of other two color in this set of three colors, but any other color can be obtained by combining these three color in a different ratio. Suppose in this particular case I obtained this color by mixing these three color RGB in this particular ratio 2 is to 1 is to 3. Similarly, I obtained this color by combining RGB in the ratio 3 is to 2 is to 1. We can generate any other color by combining these three basic color RGB. We are going to use this concept in electronic display and old television and all. So that's why these three basic color red, green and blue RGB, they form a basis. We can call them as a basic color. I'll call it as a basis. The similar thing happens in case of arrow vector in two dimension. We shall consider two perpendicular vectors, two perpendicular unit vectors Ex and Ey. Let me draw them symbolically. Ex and Ey. They are perpendicular to each other. They are orthogonal. They have length equal to 1. Unit length. That means they are unit vectors. In this case, one vector cannot be obtained by what you call by multiplying other vector with some scalar a. Suppose if a is some scalar, if you multiply that scalar to this ey vector, you will never get ex vector whatever the possible scalar a, because these vectors in case of arrow vector, these vectors are characterized by directions, and if you multiply this ey with a scalar, you will get a vector along ey direction only. You will never generate a vector along ex direction. But these again, we call these two as linearly independent orthogonal vectors. They form a basis, and any other vector in a plane in case of two dimension can be written as linear combination of these two vectors. We call this as linear combination where ax and ay are scalars. Again, we can linearly combine this ex and ey, these two unit vectors, orthogonal unit vectors. We can generate any vector in a plane using this. We shall see this one in GeoGebra animation. Here I have taken Ex vector, that's along x-axis, unit vector, Ey vector along y-axis, and R vector, which is a resultant of Ax into Ex plus Ay into Ey. And again, by changing this Ax and Ay that I can change here, you can generate any vector in a plane. So this is the basic idea. We call this as spanning the space. Actually, you can generate any vector in a plane by combining Ex and Ey in a different ratio. Again, that ratios are given by Ax is to Ay. You can see this one here. You can generate any vector on a plane, on a two-dimension, or on a two-dimension plane using these two vectors. So this we can see here. These two again two we call this in a spanning of the space. To span the space, these two vectors need not be perpendicular. Okay, they can be other than perpendicular vector also. So these two basis vector, they need not be perpendicular. They can be what you call any two non-collinear vectors. Again, they should have some non-zero angle between them. That angle between them should be not equal to 0 degree or 180 degree. That's sufficient. In that case also, we can span the space. We can generate any other vector in a plane by linearly combining these two. But usually we choose this vector to be unit vector and perpendicular. Let me take arrow vectors in case of three dimension. So again, in case of three dimension, I'll take three unit vectors ex, ey, ez orthogonal to each other. I'm going to draw them symbolically ex, ey, ez. Any one of these unit vector cannot be obtained by linearly combining other two unit vector where a and b are scalar here. If you combine ey and ez, if you combine ey and ez, you will get a vector in zy plane. You will never generate ex vector. Similarly, you can't obtain ey by combining ex and ez. Similarly, you can't obtain ez by combining ey and ex. This is very similar to our uh, again, this concept is very similar to our basic color RGB, red, green, and blue. So say, we can't write any of this vector as a linear combination of other two vector, but any other vector in a three-dimensional vector space can be written as linear combination of these three vectors. These three vectors will form a basis. Again, these three unit vector, orthogonal vector, they form a basis. Any other vector in three dimension can be generated using linear combination of these three vectors where ax, ay, az are scalars. This concept is very similar to like getting any color by combining RGB, red, green, and blue. So we are going to write this one in a symbolic form like this, summation form. R is equal to summation over I equal to xyz ai into ei vector, where I will go with x, y, and z. Now we shall see this animation corresponds to this one. Now here I have taken three unit vectors ex, ey, ez. Any vector in three dimension can be written as linear combination of this ex, ey, and ez, where ax, ay, and az are scalars here. And here I can change those ax, ay, az. By changing ax, ay, az, I can generate any vector. I can generate any vector in three dimension by just changing ax, ay, and az. You can see that one here. Any vector in three dimension can be obtained by changing this ax, ay, az, which are scalars. So that's why we call this as linear combination. Linearly combining ex, ey, ez with a different ratio, we can generate any vector in case of three dimension. Now again, as I told earlier, we call this concept as spanning the space, spanning the three-dimensional space. Now these three vectors need not be perpendicular to each other. They can be just non-coplanar. Any three non-coplanar vectors, this ex, ey, ez, these three vectors here I have chosen them as a unit vector and orthogonal vector. They need not be unit vector or they need not be orthogonal. Any three non-coplanar vector, again, they can linearly combine and generate any vector in three dimension. They can span the space. But we usually take unit vectors, orthogonal vectors, so that it's very easy to find this coefficient ax, ay, az that we shall see. So orthonormality, I hope you know in case of orthogonal unit vectors, it will follow this kind of property. If you take dot product of any unit vector with itself, you will get 1 because its length equal to 1. It's just like ex dot ex is equal to 1, ey dot ey equal to 1, ez dot ez is equal to 1. Similarly, ex dot ey is equal to 0, ey dot ez is equal to 0, ez dot ex equal to 0. Combiningly, we shall write this one in a symbolic form ei vector dot ej vector that's equal to 1 if I equal to j, that's equal to 0 if I not equal to j, where I and j goes with x, y, and z. Getting the coefficient of expansion, once we write a general vector, three-dimensional vector in terms of these three basis vector ex, ey, ez, it's very important to obtain this coefficient because this coefficient will decide the net vector, the resultant vector actually. So to get that coefficient, suppose if I need this coefficient ax, what I do is I'm going to take dot product of ex vector with r vector. In that case, this will happen. In this case, ex dot ex is equal to 1, ex dot ey equal to 0, ex dot ez is equal to 0. That's why you will obtain ax. Similarly, you can obtain ay and az. So generally we can write like this. Again, generalizing this one, again we can write like this: ei vector dot r vector is equal to ai vector. If you want a particular coefficient of this linear expansion, again ith coefficient, you have to take dot product with that ith uh, unit vector with this what you call so resultant vector. So these three basis vector, unit vector, orthogonal vector, they are very similar to RGB, red, green, and blue. So any other vector can be obtained using these three basic vectors, basis vectors. And again, this concept is very similar to obtaining any other color by combining red, green, and blue. The similar thing will happen in other concept also, in other mathematical concept also. For example, Fourier series. It is not only in case of arrow vectors. In case of Fourier series, we have some basic functions here. We can call this as basis here: cos n pi x by l and sin n pi x by l, where n here, in case of cos n pi x by l, n start with 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. In case of sin n pi x by l, n start with 1, 2, 3, and so on. Uh, any one of these functions, okay, these are functions, set of functions. Any one of these function cannot be written as linear combination of any other function in this set actually. That we can see here, cos pi x by l cannot be written as linear combination of any other set here. Similarly, sin 2 pi x by l, suppose if I take, so that cannot be obtained by linear combination of any other functions in this set. Even in the concept of linear algebra, in the perception of linear algebra, we can call them as a basis vector also. Since one of these function cannot be written as a linear combination of other function, but again they form a basis just similar to RGB, just similar to our unit vectors in case of three dimension. Any other function in the range minus L to plus L, any other function which should be single valued function, which should have finite number of discontinuity, which should have finite number of maxima or minima. That's it. Any other function can be written as linear combination of this basis function in the region minus L to plus L. This concept is very similar to obtaining any other color by combining three basic color, red, green, and blue. And this concept is very similar to this concept of obtaining any other function by linearly combining cos n pi x by l and sin n pi x by l. This concept is very similar to obtaining any other vector in three dimension by combining unit vectors in a different ratio. We shall see the properties of these basis functions. They follow some orthonormality. Why again this orthonormality, orthogonality? These are the word we usually use for vectors. We shall see why this comes here because of the similarity. So these are the basis function we have chosen. If you multiply any of these two and if you integrate from minus L to plus L, they will follow this kind of relation. If m equal to n, it will be L. If m not equal to n, it will be 0. So similar to that one, sine n pi x by l into sine m pi x by l. So integration from minus L to plus L dx. So again, if m equal to n, if it is equal to L, if m not equal to n, it's equal to 0. So similarly, cos n pi x by l and sin m pi x by l minus L to plus L, that's equal to 0, whether m equal to n or m not equal to n. So why we call this as orthonormality? Because look at here again, the word that orthogonality, normalization, these are the word that we are going to use in case of arrow vectors, but we are going to use the similar word here because these behaves very similar to our arrow vector, our unit vector, and these expressions whatever I have written here, that's very similar to this relation ei vector dot ej vector is equal to 1 when I equal to j, it's equal to 0 when I not equal to j. It's not 1 here. It's again these are not normalized. This not equal to 1. It will be L. So but we can call them as it will follow similar relation. Getting the coefficient of expansion. Once you write a general function in terms of linear combination of this cosine and sines in the region minus L to plus L that I need to quote, what we do is we are going to get a n, we are going to multiply cos m pi x by l and we are going to integrate from minus L to plus L, and we place the factor 1 by L here, and we integrate from minus L to plus L, and we can explore the orthonormality relation, kind of orthonormality relation. As I have mentioned earlier, this cos m pi x by L, cos n pi x by L, this will be non-zero only m equal to n. So this is 0, and you will get am outside. So this whole thing is very similar to taking dot product of a particular unit vector with a general vector and getting the coefficient. So this whole integral, we can imagine that's a kind of dot product. Again, in the perception of linear algebra, we call this one as inner product actually. Again, we don't call it as a dot product, we call it as inner product. This whole integral is called as inner product. So similar to this one, again, once we get this am, let me replace m by n, and I can write an here. So this whole expression is very similar to grabbing the coefficient ai, again, in case of arrow vectors. So similar to that one, if you need bn of our expansion, in case of Fourier expansion, you have to multiply f of x with sine m pi x by L, and you have to integrate from minus L to plus L, place the factor 1 by L, because we haven't taken normalization factor actually in case of this function. So once you do this integral, bm will come outside. This is also very similar. Suppose if you need ay in the expansion of r vector, you have to take dot product with ey, and if you take dot product, ay will come outside. So this whole process is very similar to that process of getting ay here. So process of getting bm is very similar to process of getting ay, and you can write this bn in terms of this integral 1 by L minus L to plus L, integral minus L to plus L sine n pi x by L, f of x dx is equal to bn. This whole expression is very similar to getting a coefficient here. So this whole integral, we can imagine that's very similar to dot product. I have taken one example here, Fourier series, that means expansion of e power minus x, which is exponential in the range 0 to 2 pi. Usually Fourier series can be used to expand periodic function. If we restrict ourselves to some region, just like here 0 to 2 pi, we can expand non-periodic function also, but we have to restrict ourselves to some region. Once you expand this e power minus x in terms of cos nx and sin nx here, so what will happen is this whole function again will loses its original meaning. That means e power minus x is non-periodic function. Once you expand that one in terms of cos nx and sin nx, again it will take the periodicity of cos nx and sin nx. It will become periodic with a period 0 to 2 pi. But if we restrict ourselves to some region, just 0 to 2 pi, so this will able to what you call express e power minus x. This whole series will able to give us e power minus x curve. We shall see that one. So I found this a naught, an and bn here. I have list here, and we shall see this one. I have written e power minus x as a naught. I have taken this a again n equal to 0 part outside here. I have written like this, and I found the a naught, an and bn value in case of 0 to 2 pi region. And e power minus x can be written as 0.16 into cos 0x, this is a naught, 0.16 into cos 1x, that is a1, 0.16 is a1 into cos 1x, 0.06 into cos 2x plus and so on. This is a summation, it contains infinitely many terms. I have written only 3 terms. So similarly I have written 2 terms in case of sin nx part. So 0.16 into sin 1x, 0.13 into sin 2x, like that and so on. And I want to show this one again. I want to picturize this one. That's why what I do is 0.16 into cos 0x. I have plotted this curve here. Similarly, I have added that I have added 0.16 into cos 1x. That is this curve. Similarly, 0.06 into cos 2x. That is this curve, and so on. It contains like that. Again, you have to move on. It contains infinitely many terms. Plus 0.16 into sin 1x plus 0.13 into sin 2x plus and so on. As a result, you will get e power minus x curve in the range 0 to 2 pi. Outside the range of 0 to 2 pi, it will become periodic. Again, if we restrict ourselves to the region 0 to 2 pi, it will beautifully express again by combining all of these. Again, you can obtain e power minus x curve. This concept is very similar to obtaining color, general color, by mixing RGB and this concept is very similar to obtaining general three-dimensional vector by combining three unit vector ex, ey, and ez. So again, this cos n pi x by l and sin n pi x by l, this is a kind of base, this will form a basis, and you can generate any other function in terms of this them in some region minus l to plus l. So this concept is very similar to obtaining any other color by combining RGB, red, green, and blue. So again, this concept is also very similar to obtaining any other vector, three-dimensional generalized vector using three orthogonal unit vectors. Again, we can write Fourier sine and cosine series if we restrict ourselves to the range 0 to L. We can express f of x only in terms of cosine function, where if you need this coefficient of this expansion, you can obtain by this integral similar to that one. If you wish to express f of x in the range 0 to L, if you wish to express f of x in terms of only sine n pi x by L, again you can do that one, and you can obtain this bn, this coefficient of expansion, by this integral. These are also very similar to dot products. Complex form of Fourier series, we can combine that sine and cosine. I hope all of you know that Euler formula, e power I theta is equal to cos theta plus I sin theta. Using that one, we can convert the Fourier expansion in terms of complex Fourier expansion in the range minus L to plus L. I can expand f of x as a linear combination of e power I n pi x by L, where the coefficient is Cn here. So in this case, this e power I n pi x by L, it is acting like a basis here, and you can get again this basis, this will form a kind of orthogonality relation, orthonormality relation actually, but only difference is you have to take complex conjugate here, e power minus I m pi x by L into e power I n pi x by L into dx integral minus L to plus L, that's equal to 2L if m equal to n, that's equal to 0 if m not equal to n. This is very similar to our orthonormality relation. And again, if you need this coefficient of expansion, again you have to proceed with the same thing, but only difference is you have to multiply by complex conjugate of our basics, e power minus I m pi x by L, if our basis is e power I n pi x by L. So you have to integrate from minus L to plus L. This is a kind of dot product again, and we will get Cm, which is we will get C by Cm outside. Again, you have to explore this integral in this mathematical step. Stop this video, pause this video, and try to work out this one. If you write this one on a page, it will be very clear for you. So again, to obtain this coefficient Cn, you have to multiply this whole function by complex conjugate of this basis of the expansion, and you have to integrate from minus L to plus L. You have to place 1 by 2L factor, you will get this coefficient. This is very similar to dot product whatever we have done earlier. Fourier transform, representation of non-periodic function. We have seen earlier, suppose e power minus x, exponentially decreasing function. If you expand that one in terms of sine and cosine, it will become, it will be forced to periodic actually. Our original nature of the function cannot be explained by the, again, if you have any non-periodic function, that non-periodic function cannot be explained by the sine and cosine. If we restrict ourselves to some region, then only we can explain that one. So here we should take Fourier transform. That means we can represent non-periodic function in the region minus infinity to plus infinity. In the whole region, we can express non-periodic. We can represent non-periodic function in terms of some basis. We shall see that one. So e power I kx, this will act like a basis here. Again, where k is between minus infinity to plus infinity, x is between minus infinity to plus infinity again. You can express any function in terms of this one, e power ikx. Again, we call this one as Fourier transform here, 1 by root 2 phi integral minus infinity to plus infinity e power minus ikx dk. So this is a coefficient of expansion. This pi k is a coefficient of expansion actually, and you can obtain that pi k by multiplying this function with the complex conjugate of this one, e power ikx into f of x dx. And this whole process is very similar to our complex Fourier series expansion. Okay, this is a basis here. In case of complex Fourier expansion, this is a basis actually. Now again, any general function we have written in terms of combination of this one. Here is an integral. So in case of complex Fourier expansion, it was a what you call summation actually. Again, we just put L. Again, here we have taken minus L to plus L, but here we have taken the range minus infinity to plus infinity. Here f of x, where x can vary from minus infinity to plus infinity. F of x need not be periodic. In this case, f of x will automatically take the periodicity of this basis. The process of getting the Cn, this coefficient, is very similar to this process again. But again, the only change here is, again, here f of x is a summation, here f of x is a integration. The difference here is, we again here our basis is a kind of discrete actually. So in this case, in case of Fourier transform, our basis is a kind of continuous basis where k is a continuous variable here from minus infinity to plus infinity, and you can express any function in the range minus L to plus L in terms of this basis. You can express any other function in the range minus infinity to plus infinity, in the range of x from minus infinity to plus infinity. You can express any function in terms of this one, but this is an integral because this is a continuous base. Since because of the fact that it's a continuous basis, you can express any function in terms of an integral. It will become integration. Just like here, our coefficient depends on n here. We make the summation over n here. Coefficient depends on n. It is very similar to that one. Here our coefficient depends on k because our integral is with respect to dk. So only difference here, it's an integral. Here we can express any function from minus infinity to plus infinity. Again, here range of f of x is minus infinity to plus infinity. It can be minus infinity to plus infinity. Here range of f of x, it is from minus L to plus L. That's a small difference here, but both are very similar here. You can find the similarity. So I have taken one example of Fourier transform here. F of x, I have taken constant from minus a to plus a, and I have taken that one equal to 0 otherwise. And I have taken this formula Fourier transform, and pi of k, we call this one as inverse Fourier transform actually. This again, we need this coefficient to express this phi of x in this form. And again, if we shall find this pi of k, we call this pi of k as a Fourier transform. I found here as pi of k is equal to root of a by phi sine ak by phi, where k is between minus infinity to plus infinity. Now we shall see this one in a graph. We shall see this one, this plot. This is our f of x plot, which is equal to constant from minus a to plus a. So this black color plot, this is pi of k, that is sine ak divided by ak multiplied with root of a by phi. We can change a here, and we can see some different, because f of x depends on a, pi of k is also depending on a. That's why when you change a here, both curve will change. We shall see some physical interpretation of this concept. So one is Fourier transform or other, we say like that. All together, we shall see any vector in case of three dimension can be written in terms of basis vector. Any function again in the range minus L to plus L, minus L to plus L, can be written in terms of cos and sine. Any function can be expressed in terms of complex Fourier expansion e power I n pi x by L. Any non-periodic function can be expressed in terms of this one in terms of integral. We call this one as Fourier transform. So find the similarity here. If you express any function and any 3D vector in terms of linear combination of basis vectors, again getting the coefficient of this expansion is taking dot product of that particular basis vector with this resultant vector R. So very similar to that one in case of Fourier expansion. To get this coefficient, again you have to do this integral. These integrals are very similar to this dot product actually, and similar to you can go for Fourier complex Fourier expansion. In that case, again to get Cn, you have to, again, only difference between Fourier expansion and complex Fourier expansion is you have to multiply by complex conjugate here. That you should never forget, because sine n phi x by L and cos n phi x by L, these were actually real function. That's why even if you take complex conjugate in this place, it doesn't matter. But here this basis of this expansion is complex function. That's why to get the coefficient outside, you need to multiply with complex conjugate. So this also you can imagine very similar to this dot product, similar to that one Fourier transform expansion. Again, we call this as continuous basis expansion also. You can write f of x in terms of this one, and to get the coefficient you can just write like this. So again in the very similar manner, our basis of expansion is e power minus ikx. Here you have to multiply by complex conjugate to f of x, and you have to integrate to get coefficient of the expansion.